here to defend himself.
Yeah, there you go. See?
Excellent.
Yeah.
I'm a fan. I'm gonna go ahead and post the workout and
Okay.
then I'll talk about it and then see what we've got going on. Sounds like your shoulder's been okay lately.
Yeah,
So
shoulder's been fine. Been a little under the weather the last couple of days, but actually woke up feeling pretty normal.
okay,
So yeah, I've slept like so much, like 12 hours one night, 10 hours
good.
the next night.
Yeah, it's that time of year where everyone just like I feel like we're all on a knife's edge and we're just, you know,
Yeah, exactly. Just a rundown. So
yeah.
that's probably a lot of it.
So I mean, ultimately just take things today as it feels okay, basically.
Yeah.
Um, I have a lot of floor work, so I probably won't see your face a ton
Okay. That's
today.
fine.
Um, but essentially we're gonna start with a bit of a primer. So just
Okay.
I kind of use the first two movements in addition to the warm-up to get you ready for your single leg deadlifts. The first set of movements is 3 times through 10 glute bridges and 10 fire hydrants. We've done the fire hydrants as a warm-up. So essentially it's a specific warm-up here. And it kind of sounds exactly what it sounds like. Imagine a dog peeing. It's not pretty, but it's great for your outer glute. So that's why we're doing it. And then we are going to move into our, I would say, main kind of loaded moving set or working set, which is 12 per side single leg deadlifts. 12 is a lot, but we're only doing 3 sets instead of 4. The last we've done a couple weeks. And I have 10 push-ups followed by that. So that's
Okay.
kind of just their first 2 parts. Your final section, which we'll review again, is 5 rounds. Rest a minute after each round. The one round is 10 either goblet squats or head cutters. And I'm going to talk, we've done both of
Oh
these.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, so a kettlebell is super handy here, but you can grab that in a second. And then 10 per side, 3-point rows, and then 20 bear plank pull throughs. Okay.
Sounds good. Hmm.
So got a bit of pulling and pushing and deadlifting and all the things. Um,
Head cutting.
and head cutting, but only because that's what it's called. It's a terrible name. We'll start you standing first. So instead of, I know you're kind of a chilly basement, and let's just start with the arm circles first, because
Right.
that might just slowly get your core temperature up. Um, we'll start with your thumbs pointed up. I can't actually do a full swing here, but you get the idea. Starting small. Okay. I also squatted yesterday, which is good. Oh, but I regret my choices sometimes.
What did you do yesterday? I missed that.
Squatted for the first time in like
Lot it.
about 2 weeks.
Yeah, that'll get you.
I haven't done anything yet, but I'm just doing, getting up and getting down. I'm like, oh, okay, spicy. Things are all right. I see you. Um, so after you have your thumbs up, yeah, the order here is not important. So whether you're going, you've done the cross, trying to go with the order you just done. Let's go ahead. You've gone forward and back, across. Let's go ahead and go thumbs up, backwards. Sorry, thumbs down, backwards, excuse me. So the order here is not important, right? We just want to make sure you get both directions per hand position. So in this case, thumbs down and thumbs up. And then you can rest between directions, especially in this one. And then we're going to go the opposite, of whatever you did. All right. From here, some inchworms. So I'm gonna start standing. I know you can't see me for this half. Inchworms is just gonna touch your toes. If you can walk on your hands, great. If not, that's okay. You're gonna touch your toes. You're gonna walk out into a plank shape. All right, good. Come down to your knees here. You do your push-up or lay down. Get up. Hands back to your feet. Standing up is optional, but certainly welcome if you'd like it. Let's do 5. Unlikely, but should you get dizzy, you can always take a knee or have a seat.
Okay.
All right. So those are your 5 inchworms. We're gonna go ahead and follow this up with 15 air squats. Again, just to keep your core temperature high, but also just to see how your squats feel. So from the hips and down, okay, my feet are about shoulder width, hip to shoulder width, whatever you find comfy. That's gonna be up to you. On the side, we're gonna be squatting down, right, and standing back up. So knees in line with hips. Don't worry about your depth just yet. We're just going to make sure that this squatting feels right, or I guess recognizing how that squat feels. If it helps to sit to an object or towards an object of a certain height, that can be helpful. Doing 15. It's a little more active in our warm up today versus our passive.
Okay. That's 15.
So what I'm going to do here, Maxine, I'm going to demonstrate both of the things I want you to do next because they're both
Okay.
floor pieces. So you don't have to get up and get down and get up and down over and over
Something.
again. Um, so we're gonna do just a bit of kind of spinal rotation, our usual thread the needle bit. And then instead of the normal, right, kind of just, you can do a few cat cows while you're down here because why not?
Mhm.
And then the
Um,
spinal rotation, reaching up, reaching through, that sort of deal. So the cat cows, let's do 10.
Okay.
Rotations, let's do 5. And the other one I want to talk about is the donkey kick. So this is where, unlike the bird dog, where in past we've kind of extended the leg, right? We're actually going to keep the leg bent. I imagine I'm trying to hold, let's see what I have here. I don't know. It's a pouch, but you get the idea. You're trying to hold something,
Mhm.
okay, behind your knee, okay?
Okay.
And you don't want that. We're going to do 10.
Okay.
So the idea is if we extend the leg, we get the glute engages, but not quite the same way. So by squeezing or thinking about squeezing, right, as opposed to relaxing this knee angle, we want to get kind of that glute. If you feel in the low back, that's too far. Okay. We're not going for a low back exercise. So 10 or so cat cows, followed by 5 thread the needle. It's just gentle spinal rotation. It's per arm. It's if you take some time on those. And then 10 per leg, donkey kicks. Unlikely, but should you feel like you're about to cramp, go ahead and stop the kicks if you need to take a break. And you can, in fact, if you are in a position to do so, hold a lacrosse ball or like a small dog toy. That'll do the trick. Something round and squeeze it behind your knee or a little tea towel. Just imagine that idea.
Waking things up.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those, I feel like the donkey kicks are a slow burn. You're like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. That looks easy.
And then you're like, oh, my butt. But
Good morning.
good morning.
Hamstrings. Hello. How we doing?
Hamstring, glute. It's like,
Yeah.
all right, okay, yeah, we're here. But it's not, I find it's not hyper aggressive. We're not like,
No, it just like it gets it going.
just kind of wakes it up a little bit, right?
Mhm.
Especially pre-deadlift is kind of nice to kind of just get things working before they have to work.
Alright.
Okay, so let's talk about kind of our first portion today. Again,
Okay.
a lot of floor work. So here we go. We have our glute bridges. That's normal, I think. We could take this either kind of from a 2-foot position, right? Just like a normal glute bridge. Or if we want something more spicy, single leg's fine too. But ultimately, give me 10 of these guys. Right, so it's gonna be squeeze, right? If you prefer more of a split stance, just make sure you split stance evenly, as in you do the equal amount of reps per side. The fire hydrants, it's going to be more of a lateral hip versus that kind of dead on hamstring exercise you just did. And what we're looking for here, if you need something for your fans, you can always take your dumbbells and do this if your wrists are feeling a little cranky. All right. But the fire hydrant itself, as I lift my hip, I'm just lifting as high as I can go, which is not much as you can see, without rotating off, right? So you ever seen little dogs pee and then fall over because they go too far? Don't do that. Okay. We're not looking to fall over. We're just looking to get a little lateral hip, kind of glute activation, right? Without compromising that back position or that hip. So still want to keep your back fairly flat. We're doing this 3 times through, 10 glute bridges, and then 10 per side. Fire hydrants. And
Yeah.
you can rest, of course, as needed, or get up, stretch out, whatever you'd like. You probably won't need much rest here just because it's not particularly hard, but that is okay. Maxine, I feel like you should make signs, like emojis, where you could pop them up in the middle of a movement.
No, okay, that's one.
Or just make space in different emotions. Your general feelings about the activity you're doing. I feel like Meg would consent to that. I'm just saying. Watch your mailbox, Maxine, because you have things coming. No, that might be more distracting, but that's okay.
Have a good time.
All joking aside, hopefully you have something either soft or mildly insulated down there because it could be.
I've got this nice thick cushy it's actually a P90X mat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad. I was gonna say, even when I'm working at the gym up the hill, it's nice just to have like a yoga mat for a bit of insulation because it
Yeah.
can be quite chilly.
Yeah.
Um, Also, I have the knees of a 7-year-old woman, so
Same. Yeah. It's well, they're just sensitive. Like I did yoga for years and like built up a tolerance for, hard floors, and then I stopped and I've not ever gotten that back.
interesting. I've never,
But
most of the yogis I know are either not ex-yogis, they still do yoga, but yoga is no longer their primary movement practice. It is a movement practice, but it's not the one they do the most.
uh,
Um, and or anecdotally, I know of a few people who are super bendy. Not contortionist bendy, but definitely like long time yogi bendy, and have have had hip replacements before the age of 50 because
Yeah, yeah.
they're not stable enough. So,
Yep.
you know,
I remember a longtime yoga teacher. I think it was a hip injury. Yeah.
it's usually hips.
You're like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, and they're usually fairly young. Um, it comes with, I mean, doing too much of anything, right, comes
Yeah,
with
true.
that could be triathlon, that could be biking, that could be running, that could be anything.
Yeah.
Um, doing too much yoga with not enough stability work slash, weighted movements can lead, not always, but can lead to some hip issues.
Yeah.
It also depends on your general, I think, base flexibility. If you're already flexible,
Yeah. All right, that's 3 rounds.
beautiful. Yeah, it's a little quick, just a little
Yeah,
wake up the system.
sounds good.
So we have our single leg deadlifts. Remind me, Maxine, I know you don't have a full gym available. So normally in a setting where you have all of the weights, I would say, hey, just do more, as in grab more weight. That's not always an option, and that's okay, especially for us at home. So what are your weight options generally? I know you
Uh,
do dudes.
yeah, I have a 20-pound kettlebell.
Okay.
And then I have for dumbbells, I have 15s, 10s, sixes, and then some little ones.
Little PT guys.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So this is one where the 20 might be okay, but you can tell me if that's the case.
Yeah, I
Um,
think I did 20 last week. Was it?
okay, lovely. Yeah, if you want to grab it, you can. Um, this goes for anybody watching. If you don't have more weights, oftentimes adding tempo, so slowing it down, pauses, in this case, lifting the back leg, if you haven't already, can all just make this slightly more challenging. The other thing I want to talk about possibly doing is adding more range of motion. So we've been kind of staying in Romanian deadlift territory. So I want to be very clear. You don't need to touch your weight to the ground, dumbbell or kettlebell. That's not critical. But oftentimes, if we get pretty good at our movement here, so that could be varied here. But for example, this is my weight here. I'm working the leg closest to you, and I'm pretty comfy. So this is my foot back. I'm pretty comfortable to about there. Okay,
Mhm.
I'm good here. Now, if I continue to go farther, as in if I were to actually deadlift, right? Bend the knee. So if I were to take that same shape, right? And I might do this unweighted and try and bend the knee, because right? All of a sudden it's a whole different ball game, right? So I'm not shifting the knee forward like I'm squatting, but if I were to deadlift a bar, I would hit this position that I just had,
Yeah.
and I would bend the knee, right? Now you don't have a barbell. That's okay. But it's okay for the knee to bend once you've loaded this whole system. So
Okay.
for the sake of demonstration, keep this foot down. So as my hip goes back, this is where I'm pretty comfy, my single leg foot raised deadlift. If I go to here, all of a sudden,
Mm,
I'm like, oh, hey, that's more challenging. And that could be your 10-pound dumbbell. Or
got it.
it could be honestly unweighted if you need to work on balance. Um, so you can add range of motion as long as it's pain-free. Okay, so my foot's raised. This is where I'm pretty okay. I'm pretty comfy. And then if I start bend the knee, becomes a whole different thing, right? So take it or leave it. You don't have to range of motion if you're liking where you're at. Heck yeah, if you want to add weight and just stay the same range. Otherwise, if you're kind of, I don't know, used all your weights, feels kind of easy, back off on the weight or take it away altogether and add a little more range of motion and see how that
Mm,
feels. This
okay.
should not feel like a knee exercise. Your knee's bending, but you shouldn't feel like the front of your kneecap's about to explode. That's
Okay.
not what we're going for. So that's 12 per leg. And of course, our push-ups, 10 reps, scaling as needed, elevate the hands, resting within that 10 reps, the usual business. Okay. Um, so for your single leg deadlifts, I say pick your poison, really.
All right.
What was that movie? Can't think of it now.
What was it?
I said, pick your poison. And then I was like, oh God,
Oh,
I could see it. I could see the poster. The Breakfast Club.
oh
Like,
yeah,
what's your poison? And she's like, vodka. What's the actor's name? Anyway, that movie.
iconic. I see what you mean about just that little bit more.
It's a little like just a little more range of motion.
Yeah.
Just adds a little something. And I think
I think
it,
especially with the one leg.
yeah, and there's always going to be a leg or side
Oh yeah, that's
that's
true.
just better at it. And so I think I mean, I don't think I've ever met anyone who's done unilateral work, arms or legs have been like perfectly even. Um, there's been a few people who may be unaware of the imbalance, but for the most part, most people are. We have biases and dominant sides, and I would say weird movement pattern and history stuff.
Yeah. Then as you start getting injured too,
Yeah,
like when you start compensating, and then things get screwed up too.
yeah. I mean, yeah, I agree. Yeah, overcompensation can happen, but even just repetitive injuries can start to become a thing as well. Ugh. And that's why you generally speak, well, not so much, but that's why they typically recommend not to specialize your kids in sports until they're
Yeah.
much older. But
Yeah. My daughter plays soccer and she's the goalkeeper. So, she's not running as much as the other girls, but like the injuries are starting.
I
They're
hope
her team, they're all like between ages of 11 and 13. And
so.
already
Assuming
seeing
by the age
knees,
of 15,
ankles. Yeah.
there's going to be a few ACL or MCL tears by the
Yeah.
time that on her team. By the time they're 15, she's
They
15.
don't do any kind of cross training really. So,
Um,
and I don't know when, like, is there an appropriate age to start strength training?
totally.
Yeah.
I mean, there's an appropriate age for anything. It's the same principle as is there an appropriate age to tell my 4-year-old, something kind of heavy. It's like, yeah, you just need to relate to them in a way that's appropriate.
Right.
If it's a tough conversation, you need to have that conversation with them. But so the short answer is yes. Um, when you're talking about like quote training kids, developmental age is a huge thing, right? So for some kids, it's an obstacle course. We're gonna run over something and we're crawl under this and we're gonna hop on that and we're gonna play a game.
Oh yeah.
That's training for a 3-year-old,
Right.
whatever. And then at some point, we're like, hey, we're not now this box is no longer soft. So we're gonna learn that. And hey, we're gonna crawl on it and try and jump on it and problem solve how to get over it, or here's more specific ways. Big thing actually, and this goes for anyone teaching kids, comes from a PT friend of mine, saying teach your kids to jump with their feet together. Okay.
Huh.
So the reason being, so I'm a kid, right? You jump feet together, okay? What's your option? Well, yeah, you can go knees out, but chances are you're staying knees together, right?
Right.
So we're automatically confining the system to if I'm jumping and my feet are together, I have less options for this knee stuff going on, right? If you teach your kids to jump with your feet together, or it's a way, and then have and then you can have, for honestly, you can have. I think your daughter's old enough, but you can add weight at any time, not
Okay.
jumping. But like for her, like having them do step ups, step on a box. Can you step on a
Oh
box?
yeah.
Can you step off of a box laterally?
Right.
Your hip and knee. You don't have to add weight if that's a concern for parents. So I get it. It gets a bad rap because, You need to have
Oh,
some.
I would love it if she could start lifting weights. Like, I think that'd be awesome. I
Honestly, the
wanted to
stuff
be
you're
young.
doing here, like the single leg deadlift stuff, forget
Yeah,
the weight. And can she balance on one foot?
right.
Cool, right? I would love actually in this setting, which is kind of challenging. So not everyone has it, myself included, is stepping up. We do a lot of lunging and squatting, but like
Yeah.
propulsion upwards, not actual jumping.
Mhm.
Vertical stepping would be great. I just have not figured out a way to do it. Like
Yeah.
yeah,
Tough. Yeah, you gotta have something to step on. Yeah.
right. Or something safe to step on. Like your dining room chair is not it because it needs to be balanced.
No.
Like it needs
Yeah.
to be something that most people have access to in their homes.
Yeah. I'm looking around like a little step stool. I mean, I have
A little step stool can work.
we have so I'm out in the garage. There's like a little it's like a patio and then it's our front door and there's a step that goes up to our front door
Yeah,
and
that's great.
I've done step ups out on that before.
Yeah, even lateral steps, because if a step is made to code, we hope. Okay.
Yeah.
The
I
step
mean,
is
it's
not
cement.
that high.
It's like a whole, yeah, it's part of the house. Yeah.
But like steps, whether they're built via cement or wood, need to be made to a certain code, or they should be, more
Right.
important. I've lived in plenty of places where you're like, that doesn't seem right. Um, so that being said, if a step is made to code, it's usually not tall enough to be.
Gotcha.
I will say, you know what, post knee or ankle injury would be appropriate in that knee and ankle flexion, but a step that big, it's fine. I'm talking like
Bigger.
hiking,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
like,
Okay.
hey, there's a log in my way. Can I
Yeah.
step on the log? That kind of thing. Um,
How many rounds are we doing in this? Five?
being 3.
Oh, three. Okay. I did it.
You did it. I don't know if you get points for one arm in gymnastics, but I think we'll take it. Beautiful, right? So the reason I have it 3 because of the 12 per side, because
Yeah.
kind of keeping the volume in the same ballpark without going crazy. I'm glad that knee bend or extra range of motion felt a little more challenging.
Oh, good.
Um, and it's more just there for anyone who's like, I don't have the option to go up in weight. So what do I do now?
Yeah.
Short answer is you get lower, right?
Yeah.
If you have more weight at home, go heavier. That's the answer. This
Oh,
is
what
the
you can
time.
do with like limited equipment. There's a lot you can do.
Totally.
So I
Um,
probably will never go back to it. I
I
like
mean,
my little garage.
if you like your garage and it's working for you, great. For me, my garage is uneven and it's designed to drain water, and
Yeah, that makes sense.
it's just it's too cold.
Yeah.
I need to
Yeah.
separate comfort and work, and
Yeah.
this is comfort. So
Yeah.
um okay, so we have our goblet squats or head cutters coming up. This is an either or, not an and. Okay, so please don't do both unless you want to. This is just a bit of, this can be conditioning. This is kind of a choose your own adventure. You can make this as spicy as you like, as conditioning as you like, or just moving for quality, really. So we have our goblet squats, which you've done many, many times at this point, where you carry your weight in front of your chest and you squat down. You squat up and down. I should probably demonstrate this. That would make sense, just in case we need a reminder. You can't see my feet here, but bear with me. I have my weight in front of my chest, squatting down, standing up, squatting down, sitting up, right? Repeating that for 10 reps. Our head cutters. I apologize, I'm going to demonstrate in 2 sections here. So we're going to be, section 1 is from the ground. So I'm going to be, particularly having a kettlebell is helpful here for the record. I'm going to have my hands on top of the bell. Okay. As I come up, I'm going to slide my hands around the side. Right. So my hands are here. Right. And then once I have that, again, not a high quality production here. That's okay. I've paused here. Right. I'm going to squat down now and then put this over my head. Wink. right? So full motion, touch, grab the side, squat, overhead. For my dumbbell athletes, if you want to join the party, it is a thruster or a cluster, squat, clean thruster. You can have 1 or 2 weights. You can go with this guy here, here, or if you have 2, you can go here, here. That's how you do it with dumbbells instead, right? Dumbbell or 2 dumbbells. 2 dumbbells here, 1 dumbbell here. Followed by our 3-point rows. This is super handy. If you're something a little bit heavier, it's okay if you don't. If you want to make it a little harder, add a pause. You can use your knee or a bench. I have a knee, so I'm going to do that. So left hand, left knee, right arm is going to be pulling. I'm going to pull the elbow back. My chest is still very much up and down. Up is not a up and forward, right? It's not shoulder rolled forward. It's actually shoulder back. Nice open chest, right? It's okay not to feel it heavily, but you should not feel it on the neck or the shoulder like this. Like good. We want to keep that nice open posture. Followed by our 20 bear plank pull throughs. Your bear plank, right? These guys, meaning tabletop position, knees slightly off the ground, right? So you have a gap underneath the knee. The pull through itself is an option. So if you can't do it, you can just hold it for about 30 seconds. I'm going to come off my knees a little bit. I'm going to reach across. Left hand reaches over to the right. A little shifting here is okay. It'll happen. We're not tilting our hips on purpose. Once you completed 20 total of those, right? So as a reminder, 10 goblet squats or head cutters. 10 per side, 3-point rows. And 20 total bear plank pull throughs. Rest 1 minute. That 1 minute rest is kind of going to be on your clock. We're doing 5 rounds of that.
Okay. I'm going to see if I can do this weight with this.
Yeah. And your range of motion, Maxine, can be whatever you need it to be.
Okay.
The grip is narrow, so it's okay if you're not getting the same this position.
Okay.
More likely you're going to get something, you know, where you are at now, right? Which is a slight bend at the elbow.
Okay.
So no need to push into anything that feels
Okay.
extreme. Good. So the weight, so you're doing depends on how you approach this. This can be that's more of a squat and press, which is fine. I want to point out.
Okay.
A thruster is typically more one motion. So it's
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I was demonstrating in segments because you couldn't see my whole body.
Okay.
Yeah. I will say though, squat, pause, press, which are you doing first? Slightly intense. What you're doing now, your heart rate is going to start to
feeling that
pick up a little.
Okay.
And it's okay to switch back to the less intense one if you're, especially if you're, well, say actually this might work for some people. If you're on the edge of a cold, working out a little bit actually is actually good.
Yeah, I think I'm in that space now.
Whereas sometimes you need to back off a little.
Yeah.
So that's something you need to decide for yourself. From here, once you have your 10, we're going to do the 3-point rows. Yeah. Hand on knee, bench, sofa. Nice flat back, or if you tend to round down, we're going to feel like you're arching up a little bit. Right. Hopefully feeling the upper back. The low back can support here, but it is not carrying most.
Just open the lats.
Yep.
Okay.
That is correct. And you want to be forward enough, Maxine, that it feels, you're doing great, but you want to be forward enough. If you're too upright, it feels weird. You're like, oh,
yeah,
forward enough that this arm feels like a plumb line. If you're up here,
I see.
a little weird. So hence the hand on the knee or a bench, you can kind of just host a little bit. We're kind of emulating the tabletop position a little bit. Somewhere between tabletop and your deadlift position.
Okay.
So as long as you feel that activation, that's great. But if you feel like this feels awkward, chances are your chest is too up. What I mean by not up is just not down.
Yeah.
Right. And then the 20, that's total, bear plank pull-throughs, or it might just be a bear plank or plank hold. We have some wrist issues, we can go to forearm plank, right? As in leg straight plank, not a bear plank. After those 20, you're gonna rest about a minute. And repeat that again. I will say respect that rest time. That might feel kind of silly. But trust it. If you try a round or two with the 1 minute rest and you're like, you could shorten it, but I recommend sticking with the 1 minute rest. You got a timer going?
Yep. Man, I feel so much better now.
Good.
It was time to move.
Yeah, I get that.
You know, when you just like, you just can't.
Mm-hmm.
Your body's just like, nope.
I mean, it's the reason they move like long-term coma patients around, because like physically just moving pillows or like if you can't move yourself and you're safe to move, it just moves the body around.
Yeah.
So it's good for your body. It's like movement is generally a good thing, unless you need to rest on that. But yeah, back to you're talking about, I would say with your daughter playing soccer, it's ultimately, you don't have to train someone, or feel like you qualified to train someone, but yes, they should be doing some kind of stability work. And it's becoming more common in high schools
Yeah.
to get people like boys and girls weightlifting.
I think about like, you know, uh the high school kids lifting.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And I think it's, at least I'll say in my experience, the logic always has been inversed, where I would always remember having newer coaches, and me being the newer coach in this case, teaching beginners versus the newer coach teaching not more advanced, but not complete newbies, right? Whether it's CrossFit or generally weightlifting. The problem with putting a newer coach with people who are also new is that you can't always help when you need to help, right? Like
Yeah.
the issues are more glaring, certainly, don't get me wrong, right? It's like, oh,
Yeah.
hey, her knee's collapsing. Oh, I see that. But the people who are newest often can benefit from people with most experience.
Totally.
So, um, and also having exposure to intermediate athletes and advanced athletes, because if you coach babies and you're like, cool,
Yeah.
baby lifters, right? You're like,
You
cool.
don't
Training
see.
will flow.
Yeah.
And then you get someone who's like, has a super subtle thing, or like, how do you provide help for them too? So the logic, I understand the logic, and frankly, I think for some coaches that I've met, it's historically less desirable to teach like new lifters.
Yeah.
Um, but
I'm gonna listen while I do my bear planks.
your bear planks, if you want to roar, you can. Rawr. Actually, I don't know what noise bears make, and I'm more than happy not to find out.
So cute though.
Yeah, they're adorable until their mom comes out and swipes at you or chases you off. Um, and I've been told, again, anecdotally, grizzly bears are just point blank aggressive. Just like, I'm just gonna run after you because I can,
Because I want to.
because I want to. Unlike black and brown bears have different temperaments than grizzlies. They're also significantly smaller.
Yeah.
Grizzlies are huge.
Grizzlies are gigantic.
Yeah. Which in theory sounds super cool and like in a novel,
Yeah.
or a setting in which I'm not part of. I'd much rather not be there. Thank you very much. Or watch from a safe distance. Good. Lovely. Resting a minute. And then that was your second round. You have 3 more. Just like that.
Okay.
It's given, but you don't rest a minute after your last set. You just rest. I'll say it just in case anyone is confused. But you think honestly, single leg stuff, if she can tolerate it, you don't have to add weight to anything.
Yeah. Okay.
But see if she's open to it.
Yeah.
You can lead a horse to water, that whole saying.
I do.
Yeah, it's worth that conversation because I feel like the statistics are, I forget if I think it's ACL tears.
Yeah, I think you're right.
In girls at the age around 14 or 15 is statistically higher, like shockingly higher, than, and if she asks about being bulky, you can tell her it's harder than it looks.
Yeah.
To get big. I promise.
Yeah.
Having tried, it's very difficult.
Trust me.
So.
Oh, come on, shoulder. Kind of moves wrong.
Okay.
Okay.
If it helps, especially with the in this case, this kind of squat and press piece, it's okay to squat, pause, and then kind of press.
You press, yeah.
Or for now, you just kind of get tweaked it. Maybe we take that overhead part away. If that
I mean,
feels.
it's have to be like, I think just pausing I'll do that on the next round.
Yeah.
Sweating, ma'am.
That's okay. This is the thing about this sort of style of interval work, basically, is you can choose, essentially.
I like it.
You can choose what feels appropriate speed-wise. Obviously, your time is a factor, so we're right on time, by the way, if you're wondering. But if for anyone at home and they're like, I don't know, do I have time to do this slowly? I don't know, do you? See how long it takes you first. What does 1 round take you? Plus a minute of rest. Multiply by 5 and subtract 1. And that'll be your answer. Right? So maybe you do less rounds if you want to maintain that same speed. So.
Thanks.
Fair planks.
That was 3. Yeah.
That was 3. I was just let's say ask/confirm. So that was 3. Oh. I just can't imagine losing my entire identity and sports team at the age of 15.
Yeah. So I swam competitively starting when I was 5 or 6 and wore out my right shoulder and I had to quit at 15. Yeah, it was a real bummer. It was
I mean, it's a hard enough
awful.
time
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, exactly. And then to like
hard
lose the
enough.
thing that you love doing. But yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's
then I
hard.
got into cross country.
Okay. I mean, look, you got to replace it with something, right? Like I know we are all athletes in our own respect, right? Whatever sport you do. And it's okay to be highly committed to something, but you need a wake-up call, and hopefully that wake-up call happens before you need to stop your sport.
Yeah.
There's usually a few steps between that. It's like, hey, your body's like, I have a question. Do you mind? It'll tell you. There are moments.
Yeah.
Um, and for me it was a knee injury, which is fine. Um, and then kind of made me reevaluate what I was doing. But
What was your sport?
it was CrossFit.
Oh,
But
oh,
I want to be very clear that I don't blame, I'm not saying that CrossFit's the problem. I was the problem.
same. Like
The
I,
way that I was doing it, that was the problem.
yeah, that
Totally
exactly the same. Yeah.
self-inflicted. Like I could have absolutely prevented that from happening,
Yeah.
or maybe delayed that, my knee pain for a few more years. But ultimately I'm thankful for it, and I didn't have to do any surgery or anything crazy. So
That's
just as a reminder that maybe hamstrings are a good thing and maybe you should use them. Um, Quads are
great.
nice, but hamstrings are the other half of the back half of that system. So um, and it cropped back up when I started cycling pretty heavily in the first shutdown.
Oh, okay.
And I was really good at biking, but that's all I was good at. I couldn't stand up without pain. I couldn't kneel without pain. I couldn't squat without pain. And I was like, that's weird.
Uh,
The only place I don't hurt is my bike.
yeah.
Maybe I need to reevaluate what I'm doing. And so I did, and now I've kind of felt like I found a happy medium. So
Should start swimming.
actually I do need, so here's my biggest barrier to entry to swimming is finding a pool to swim in. And
Oh,
it's really hard.
yeah.
And it's something I'm already kind of resistant and scared of to begin with. So if you then add a barrier to entry, it's like, oh, I don't have a bike. I guess I'm not going to bike. Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So if I could, and it's not possible, we know enough people who live in the city who are like, I
But
can't
you
get into
don't
a
have
pool.
to with those schools.
It's hard to get into pools, and it's even harder to get pools that you can, like, unless you're talking to like JD or Meg when she's here, or coaches who already have relationships with those pools,
Yeah.
then don't allow
Yeah.
swim lessons.
Yeah.
Um, I know the YMCA has swim lessons, which is definitely an option. Um, but yes,
Cool. I swim at Heather Farms and they have like rec hours with the lap swim on the weekends. And I see people in there doing lessons and coaching like all the time. So
yes, certain age pool has a different policy.
yeah.
Um,
If you're ever out in Walnut Creek.
I mean, absolutely. It's just that I'm never in Walnut Creek.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, I think it's worth doing once. I think it's worth just, I don't know, getting my bearings, but I would genuinely like that. But for me, the barrier to entry is first and foremost like availability of pools.
Yeah,
And then
that's
once I get to a place where I'm like, okay, I feel like I can do a thing. Still, can I get into a pool? And the answer is
right.
maybe.
Yeah. Yep.
And the cost you incur by if you're not a member per swim, and I'm like,
Oh, yeah, that's crazy how expensive it is in the city. Like,
yeah, I'm like,
I think my pool it's like $7 to drop it.
I think Brisbane's actually still pretty good. Nikki usually goes down to Brisbane.
Mm.
And that's usually like, I think saving around $7, five
Oh,
bucks.
that's not bad. Yeah. Okay,
But
it's around five. I think it's around five.
it's your final round,
Okay,
final
here we
run through.
go.
And it's okay to
Golf
pause between
marble.
that. Yeah. Pause between your squat and your press in this case to
That would be. Come on, shoulder.
That's okay. You did a lot today. There's a lot of shoulder stuff today.
That's true.
So I feel like that's not a bad thing. I think it was just it kind of was it's like when you're at least with a cat, they'll kind of bite you and be like, I don't like that. It's a warning bite. It's like, hey, it's too much.
Yeah.
We don't like this. I think I'm sure dogs have a similar signal. I just don't know what it is.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Followed by
Gross.
then in this case, actually the shoulder being a little bit on edge is not a bad thing because it could be super intentional about your setup. So if you start to feel in the shoulder joint, that is not the point.
Right. Okay.
You can go ahead, either stop or pause or hopefully you're feeling more in the lat than anything else.
Yeah.
That would be a lot of fun to go. I mean, I think I'll have to, I'd like to swim, but we'll have to, I might tell someone to just drag me there. I think that's what's going to have to happen.
Yeah.
That's what's, this is the call to Meg. Next time she's in San Francisco, just show up, be like, we're going. And I'm like, okay. Like, okay, coach, whatever you say. Just dropping in. I will say I'm much less heavy now than I used to be, so that might help.
Doesn't really matter. It's
Well, I was mostly muscle mass, so that was kind of a problem. Like I was,
all body mechanics.
it's body mechanics, but it definitely I wholly agree with you, but my fear of drowning and just sinking because I'm so dense was just
Okay.
I just I was like I'm actually heavier now, but I think it's not all muscle mass anymore in a way that is going to benefit swimming
A
as
little
opposed
bit more buoyancy. Yeah, I got you.
to where I was the inverse of buoyant. I just sunk, and I was like, well, here we go. It doesn't do me any favors. Like it was great, but CrossFit didn't help with being buoyant or particularly good at swimming.
Not the objective there.
Being buoyant was the opposite. I think being made of lead was
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
beautiful work today.
It was fun.
I'm glad you're feeling a little better. Still take it easy, during the day. If you get a chance to go for a walk, go for a walk,
Yeah.
all that good stuff. And I think we'll see. Think what's next week? Is that already Christmas-ish?
Next week is so next Tuesday's Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve. Ooh, this is I don't. I'll talk to Meg. We'll see. I'm open to doing it. I don't know if anyone wants to wake up at 6 a.m. on a Christmas Eve. So
Yeah, I may or may not, depending on how late I have to work Monday night, because I'm taking Christmas Eve off, but work is just insane right now. So
well, that's fair. I think it's a lot for a lot of people. End of the year, Q4, like tying things up and getting ready for the next one. So, what I'll do is just keep an ear out. There will be a post whether or not it's happening.
okay,
So that goes.
no pressure either way. You do what you want to do.
Yeah, I didn't realize what day it was, frankly.
Yeah.
It's like it's another Tuesday.
What is time? And what are dates?
The flat circle. So my friend told me.
Yeah.
I think that's a reference to someone, but I don't know who it is. So apologies if
Not
I
that cool.
stole that. Enjoy your day. I hope
Yeah, you
you'll.
too.
Thank you.
Thanks
And
for doing this.
absolutely, it was a pleasure.
It was a good one.
And I will kind of pop on Discord once in a while if anyone has any outstanding questions on what we did today or kids in sports and weightlifting. But that could be a private conversation.
Yeah.
Constructive, please. No bites. I will see you
All right.
not next week, the new year.
Sounds good.
Weird. All right.
Totally crazy. All right. Take care, Kirstie.
Bye.
Bye.